To appreciate everybody in the chat. Let's get to our man, John McMullen, live from MetLife Stadium right now, joining us on the show. Johnny Mac, big win today, 28-3. The Philadelphia Eagles blowed them off the page. John, tell me I'm crazy, John. Is bully ball back in the city of Philadelphia, John McMullen?
Boy, if you get to play the New York Giants every week, I don't, man, that offense is so limited. I mean, 14-3 felt like 56-3. Game was over. Game was really over at 7-3, literally. But I mean, it's such a bad offense, such a bad team. And then it was magnified with the loss of Andrew Thomas. They couldn't block anybody. Look, you can only play who's on your schedule. All credit to the Philadelphia Eagles. They had this opponent and they completely smothered them and dominated them. But yeah, I wouldn't translate that to, the best game of the day, right? Everybody's watching Detroit, Minnesota. Detroit wins it at the end. Good offense beats good defense. When you meet up with the Detroit Lions, you can't play like that. Period. End of sentence. Or you're going to be down 14-3 trying to get up constantly as they continue to put up numbers on the scoreboard. So, yeah, it's not sustainable, but it was the proper way to go about this particular game.
John, that to me was my number one takeaway today was the quarterback threw 14 passes, had 114 yards, and again, they realized running the ball 40 times and they were going to run for 270 yards. Well, hello, an epiphany. Keep with it. The Giants couldn't stop the run. They blew them off the field. And John, and you know what's crazy, John? Everyone's going to go, well, everyone thought it was going to be close. Well, the guys in Vegas thought it was going to be close. Nobody thought that this was going to be a game like this. But what happened? They were able to inflict their will, and they were able to run the ball. Dude, 270 yards rushing, you're not losing that game. Look at Tom Brady in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. He threw for 500 yards and he got beat. Nobody loses, John, as you know, when you run for 270 yards. Barkley was a force. They kept feeding him. Hell, he didn't even play the fourth quarter. They gave him a fourth quarter off like he was at Penn State. I mean, he was so dominant. But what I liked about it, John, they stayed inside what they did well in that game, and they didn't deviate off it. And people will look at it too, John, right? One of the reasons AJ was single covered down the sidelines was because they were concerned about Barkley breaking a middle run up the field.
Yeah, well, and, Kenny Gainwell looked good. So, if this were Saquon's senior season at Penn State, you feel good about the backup because they're playing, Old Dominion or somebody, which is the equivalent of what went on. I mean, the New York Giants had, I got to double check.
John,
119 total yards.
Have you ever seen that, John? Have you ever seen a team held to 119 yards in total offense, an NFL team?
Every once in a while, but it's usually against, a couple weeks ago, we're killing Vic Fangio, and he's holding this team to 119 yards.
Wow.
They are so limited. I'm watching this game unfold, and I'm saying, boy, I mean, there's a good game going on elsewhere. Is there any way we can transport that into MetLife Stadium and watch that? This was an abject disaster to the point of, I don't know when it's going to happen, but everybody made the correlation. I've been talking about this week on the show on Birds 365. Look, the one thing that can't happen for Joe Shane happens. I mean, he's done. It's just a matter of when. I don't think John Mara's the type that going to fire a GM in the season. It's not going to do much for you. But you saw the same thing when A.J. Brown lit up the Tennessee Titans. GM lost his job. You're going to see the same thing here.
John, you're hearing a lot of rumors going around New York right now that a game like this here, Belichick has always coveted that job because that's the job he wanted before the Cleveland job. But Parcells he took the Cleveland job, and then after the fact, Bill resigned because of health reasons. But New York was kind of grooming him to be the next guy. Now, I think Bill would probably want to go to a place because he's chasing Shula down to try to win that overall record for most wins. He doesn't have really the personnel in the building, but boy, I would not be shocked to see him, the next New York
Well,
Giants head football coach.
I mean, it's bad here, and it's getting worse. And by the way, if the Yankees weren't in the World Series and the Mets weren't playing in the National League Championship Series, I think it'd be even worse. I mean, you think Philadelphia was bad? It's going to be bad for the
Wait
New
till
York
Monday,
Giants.
John, for the New York team. 109. It's one thing to get beat, John. It's another thing to have 119 yards in total offense and killed by the Eagles by 25 points. That's not going to go well Monday. It's just not. Joe Schoen's going to be, like you said. I mean, he's got to be on the hot seat. And I wonder, did you get a chance to talk to Barkley? Did Barkley get a chance?
Yeah.
What were his comments after? Because, I mean, he's not a braggart type of guy, but boy, you talk about justice.
No, he was fired up. I mean, you saw early in the game, even before the big run, where Cam Jurgens got out in front. And that was a great block by Cam Jurgens, and Saquon just turned the corner. You saw it on the first drive. The Eagles had the one first down. Then they kind of dumped it off, and he ran over somebody, way short of the first down, but they had the punt. But you could see he was fired up. They burned his jersey in effigy, and he saw it, and he saw the smoke, and they were booing him, and he thought he wasn't going to get booed. He got booed every time he touched the ball early, so he was fired up. And there's two, and I've talked about this all the time. The New York Giants should not have signed Saquon Barkley. That does not change. I mean, if he's on that team, guess what? The Giants, they're a little bit better, but they still stink.
Yeah, but John, aren't you there? You signed a $50 million quarterback. Aren't you there? I mean, look, the Eagles signed a $10 million back. Why wouldn't the Giants sign a $10 million back? Aren't you trying to put talented people around him? Why are you trying to get rid of players? You're trying to put as many good people.
Well, they definitely made a mistake on the quarterback as well. Paying Daniel
So it's more about the mistake on the quarterback than it is about.
Well, it's always because that's far more. But
Okay.
it's also the offensive line. Even without Jordan Mailata, Mekhi Becton goes down. The Eagles are at least equipped to do some things. They've been looking for an offensive line for 10 years here. And then Andrew Thomas goes down, and it gets even worse. So
You're right.
They're a bunch of players away, and you don't build around the running back in the modern NFL. If you do it, you're going to be very.
But John, you just let him walk out the building for no compensation?
Well, at that point they had done it for 6 years. What are you going to do? I mean, he's a free agent.
Then again, Tennessee let Henry walk out the building too. So yeah.
So and Tennessee's the same way. I mean, it's not that in Tennessee had a lot of success with Derrick Henry. It's a little bit different, but at this stage, they're not prepared to win. So you're certainly not going to double down on a 30-year-old running back in the case of Derrick Henry. But the Giants did make a mistake, but it doesn't matter. Perception trumps reality. And the assumption by most fans is, he ran for 176 yards with the Eagles. That means he would have run for 176 yards with the Giants. Would not have happened on this particular day.
Not with that line and that quarterback. No way.
So
Saquon
that's kind of what I'm talking about
this week, John. The JAKIB Nation is fired up because he got
188 total yards, John.
Easily eclipsed the 125 mark today.
John, do you think he's better than Shady?
I don't think he's more well-rounded than Shady.
You think he's more explosive? You think he's more explosive in between the tackles?
Yeah. Shady, much better pass receiver.
Yep.
I would say I forget who made the comparison. Oh, Kevin Stefanski, because Kevin used to be around Adrian Peterson. He made that comparison. That's the best comparison because Adrian I think he's the best pure runner since Jim Brown. Just a combination of freakish size and strength and speed. And he had this otherworldly jump cut, so to Saquon. but he wasn't a good running back. He couldn't pass protect. He was a bad receiver. So he was
Like
a
Jim
great
Brown.
runner. He was
Jim
a
Brown.
great, yeah, he was a great runner. Saquon's better as a pass receiver than Adrian and a pass protector, but he's not a good. I've been telling Zander this for how long, Zander? And you mentioned 188 total yards, 176 of them on the ground. He's not relevant in the passing game.
Yeah, no, he's not. John, what'd you make of the sacks today, man? 8 sacks for this team today. Nakobe Dean gets on the board with 2. Jalen Carter with 2. Nolan Smith with 1. Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, and Jalix Hunt. I mean, it was a sack party today, John, at MetLife Stadium. What's your takeaways from it?
My takeaways is this is why I say stats are not important in football. They're not. Because at the end of the season, that's all gets jumbled in and the context is lost. You say, oh, this team's pretty good. This team's pretty good. Look, they took advantage of a situation and they did a wonderful job of it. This is a bad football team. This is a really bad football team they were playing, and they took advantage of that situation. But if you're going to expect them to get 8 sacks against Cincinnati next week,
Baltimore,
which is, by the way, not a really good team, but they're a competent NFL team, against a good team like Baltimore, no, it's not going to translate. So all the credit in the world to get Josh Sweat going, who, by the way, Josh has been playing pretty well. But the numbers necessarily haven't been there. Bryce Huff gets going on the MetLife turf, which he seems to be the only one in the world who likes. He gets going, but yeah, I mean, this is the perfect game to say, look at this stuff, throw it out.
John, how about this though, John? The one thing that I did notice, and it's 2 weeks in a row. Is it me, John, that I'm seeing Vic bring more pressure? And I got to say, the one thing that I'm noticing more is that, the one thing maybe that they thought that they were going to get with Devin White was that blitzing from the linebacker position, because he was good in his second year when he was in Tampa. Nakobe Dean looks like he can rush the passer.
Yeah,
it looks like a skill set that he has there. But am I right, John, when I say this, that it looks like, he's bringing more, especially interior with the linebackers, that he has the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, yeah. He's faced shitty quarterbacks. So, yeah, he'll go after shitty quarterbacks. And he's doing it, and he's taking advantage of them. And it's worked beautifully. They haven't given up a touchdown in 9 quarters. They gave up a touchdown against Cleveland, but it wasn't the defense. The defense has not given up a touchdown in 2 consecutive games. Now, again, Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns got even worse this week. Daniel Jones without Andrew Thomas and the New York Giants. Yeah.
You're looking at fool's gold, right, John?
Yeah.
Yes.
John's bringing us back to reality. John, here's what I'll say. Everybody on our channel, you, Sills, me, we all predicted a close game. John, the Eagles blew him off the page.
I don't think we realized, though, Zander, how bad the Giants were.
I didn't realize what was going on with the Giants.
Yeah. Hey, the Giants, dude, they could not get out of their own way. Now, again, to what John said earlier, John's right. That's not an Eagle problem. They played up to their ability compared to what they did a week ago. John, would you agree to that? Like last week, I thought it was a decent effort, not the greatest thing on the planet, but this week they got after people for 4 quarters on defense. They stuck to an identity in running the ball. It wasn't sexy looking. They beat a team by 25, and it's on now to Cincinnati, as Bill Belichick would say, right? Let's go on to the next one here.
Yeah.
But like you said, John, they haven't given up a touchdown in 8 quarters, but yet why do I sit here and go after 8 quarters and go, I don't take anything away from these last 2 games?
Yeah, you guys are changing up your narrative a little.
No, I'm not
here high on my high horse, John. I'm like, bully ball is back. 8
Get the hell out of here.
Another game.
Hey, John, will you tell this guy, John, you're not paying a guy $50 million in wide receiver money to sit there and start running the ball 40 times.
No,
There's
come
a
on.
reason that you pay them guys that money and the quarterback 50. You're going to throw it.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed paying the money and then losing when it matters, because clearly this team should be built through that offensive line. Clearly, in my opinion. Tremendously.
The New York Giants ran the ball 3 times to their running backs in the first half of a football game for 30 minutes for 4 yards. 3 carries for 4 yards because they couldn't get a first down. They couldn't stay on the field. Daniel Jones, he had a wide open, I think it was Slayton at one point, where if he would have hit him in stride, I don't know, would have went for 40, 50 yards. He's thrown it in the ground, on the dirt, on the backside of the kid that if he even made a great catch, it's only like a 14, 15-yard catch. It's so rare. I forget, Green Bay was down 21-0 or 28-0 earlier this year. And I'm like, you know what? If they score before the half,
Minnesota.
if they score coming out of the half, they can get back in this game. The Giants are down 14-3, and I'm saying this is over. This is over.
No, it was over.
In the NFL.
Hey, John, Rutgers has a better offense than the Giants.
And speaking of
Giants beat the Seahawks, guys. Am my eyes deceiving me? They weren't this bad. I mean, come on.
Speaking of John Mara, this place was empty in the third quarter.
Oh my God.
Dude, people just
I grew up, John, and Giant tickets were willed to family members. You didn't get a chance to buy season tickets. Giant fans are some of the most loyal fans on the planet. And when you're telling me that place looks like a ghost town because they got to get across the bridge to get over to Citibank Field to go see the Mets play, that's not going to go well with the Mara and the Tisch family. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, it's funny you say that, Zander, because we were walking back from Jalen Hurts' press conference, and we were asking ourselves that question: how could they beat the Seattle Seahawks? And I don't remember the other game they won. They've won 2 games now.
Didn't they beat the Steelers?
Might have been. I forget their second win. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, oof. Look,
they beat the measly Browns.
Oh, they beat the Browns and the Seahawks.
Hey, the Seahawks.
Well, the Seahawks are a decent team.
Yeah. There you go, Zander. Keep the faith.
Shut up for a second. John,
keep the faith, Zander.
John, I need something. Ready? Bully ball out the window. 8 sacks out the window. John, what can I take from today? Anything? Jalen Hurts, 10 of 14, efficient ball game, no turnovers. How about that?
I'll take it. I'll tell you. I don't. Well, he threw it 14 times or whatever, so it better be efficient. When you're, and by the way, a running back.
He's just hacking down all my hype.
Hey,
by the way, the running back was average. The running back was averaging 10 yards a carry.
Hey, John, Van Sumeren had a better running game than the Giants did.
Ben Van Sumeren had a great lead block on a Saquon Barkley run.
John, you'd be very happy. We got a super chat about that Ben Van Sumeren block. You'd be very happy.
Yeah, they said that you probably fainted with joy.
I keep telling people Ben's a good football player. They'll find out sooner or later. And he's playing fullback. He's their best special teams player. Zach Bond got hurt today. That's one of the don't know much on it, but he left the game with a shoulder. Obviously, they're not going to bring him back because why are you going to bring him back in this game? But we'll have to see if that's going to be anything long term. But yeah, he's going to get a chance to play at some point. He got a chance to play last year against the Giants, and people are going to be surprised. He's a good player, but I'll tell you that what you take out of it gives you confidence. It gives you confidence because when you have success, especially defensively, because this team has a lot of talent offensively. We all know it. Defensively, they were playing pretty poorly till they got to Cleveland and the Giants, and they took advantage. It's not their fault, and it gives them confidence. And I think that's very important.
John, any other key takeaways from this game? It doesn't sound like you're taking any of the positives away from this thing. You're chalking this up to.
I dispute that. There's plenty of positives. It's just not translatable to good NFL teams. Like you can't, like what you're trying to say, Zander, you can't go in, especially with Tyler Steen and Fred Johnson. Remember, Jordan Mailata's not in there. Tyler Steen's got to come in from Mekhi Becton, who was ruled out with a concussion pretty early. And you're destroying this team. Now, I'll tell you right now, Cincinnati's not even playing good football. If Trey Hendrickson is healthy, batten down the freaking hatches, man.
That'll be a tough
Because
one.
you got Fred Johnson trying to block that guy.
And you got Joe Burrow on the other side that can manage the clock. If they get any kind of stops on the offense, that could be an interesting ball game with Cincinnati because of the capability, John, of the quarterback being able to control the clock.
Yeah, and you have a NFL quarterback, which you haven't seen.
Actually, the next 3 weeks, right, John? You have the next 3 weeks, you're going to get this kid, Jaden Daniels, is playing pretty good ball.
I think Jaden Daniels got hurt in today's game. I don't know if he returned.
You're going to get Lamar Jackson, and you're going to get Joe Burrow.
Yeah, well, Daniel Jones today, 14 of 21 for 99 yards.
Wow. That's a Lehigh quarterback number.
Oh, God.
And by the way, Jalen was only 10 of 14 for 114 yards, but that obviously, and by the 41, if you want something negative, AJ Brown had 5 receptions and 5 targets for 89 yards. The rest of the receiving group had 2 to 5 catches for 25 yards.
Thank you, John. What was that, John? Wait a minute. AJ had 85 yards. Hurts had
89.
89.
The rest of them had 5 catches for a total of 25 yards.
So Jalen Hurts targeted the other wide receivers for 25 yards. Thank you, John.
And that includes Devontae Smith, which is not going to go over well.
Thank you very much.
John, you are actively loading the barrel of Big Sills' National Football Show for a week. You're actively loading that barrel.
You hear John go, I don't know, 2 weeks in a row. What do I care? Okay, it's all right. There's some things to work on here. But if you want to really look at something, Hurts threw the ball for 25 yards today if it wasn't AJ Brown.
Yeah. John, any final takeaways before I let you get out of here, man? I want you to
look, part of it is you're running it, so you don't have to throw it.
Of course.
But it is what it is.
John, your final takeaways, man, so we can let you get out of here and get home from MetLife.
Good win, despite all that. All you can do, you're playing a crappy opponent. Look, a lot of teams play down to crappy opponents. And the Eagles didn't do that. Arguably, they did that last week against the Cleveland Browns. This week, they didn't do that. They got off to a slow start. Nick will tell you correctly. Everybody will tell you the defense got off to a fast start. But we're talking offensively. They didn't score in the first quarter again. Here's another thing that's not sustainable. They're 4-2, and they haven't scored a point in the first quarter.
Oof.
They're the only team in the NFL that hasn't scored a point in the first quarter. Again, you start getting to the Detroits and the Baltimores of the world. If you have to play them in the playoffs down the road, obviously it would be the Super Bowl with Baltimore, but whomever, Kansas City, San Francisco, whomever, you start getting behind because those teams are going to score. They didn't score, the Giants didn't score. They didn't score, the Giants didn't score. They didn't score, the Giants didn't score. They score, game over. There's a lot different when you're playing a big-time opponent. You might be down 10-0, 13-0, 14-0, and then it becomes really difficult. So that's not sustainable either, and that's why they're trying to fix it. But all you can do is take care of who's in front of you, and they beat the brakes off this team. So that is a big positive.
Great stuff, Johnny Mac. John, get home safe, man. We'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365.
John, you
Appreciate
flying home or you taking 95 home?
Flying home.
I'm taking.
It's got the jet coming for John.
I'm taking a meet. By the way, we've known Brandon Grant for 15 years, and he asked us in the locker room, "Are you guys on the media flights with us?" I'm like, "Dude, we've been with you for 15 years. We don't get to go on your flights. How do you not
97
know
miles
that?"
away. Hey, my God. That's funny, John.
Yeah.
Oh,
Johnny Mac, great stuff,
anyway.
man. Appreciate you doing it today. Great takeaways. I hope you know during your drive home, you can think about the fact that you took a needle and you stuffed it in my balloon and popped it. And there's not an ounce of air left in that sucker after this. But we appreciate you joining, and we'll talk to you in the morning on Birds 365.
thank you, John.
All right, bully ball. Go, bully ball.
Thank you, Johnny Mac. Great stuff from John McMullen. Joining the show here on the JAKIB.
What's the matter, man? You couldn't gas up the
Oh,
JAKIB
I'm calling
jet?
bull. Sills, you were right there with me. Everybody go rewatch the first
Wait
hour
a minute.
of this show.
You can't gas up the jet for John McMullen? I mean, the JAKIB Media jet? What's up with that,
Maybe
man?
a couple more super chats, and I'll be able to gas up the jet for Johnny Mac.
Hey, John McMullen echoed everything I said. Zander, pipe down. This thing was nothing to sneeze at. Don't worry about it, son.
Before I get to a break,
you and the nose holes defense. It's okay. And then look, your quarterback has 130 yards of total offense. And now that John, what ammo he gave me. So
young
AJ
gun.
had 85 yards receiving. Hurts had 114. This guy threw the ball for 20 yards to 3 other people. Holy cow.
You know what, Sills? Before I let you go, because I'm going to let you get out of here, we'll get your final thoughts before we get to the break. The young gun, Big Z, will stick to his guns. I heard all week from you and from John, oh, this game is going to be closer. Don't take the Giants lightly, everybody. They have a good pass rush. They're a top 10 defense.
They did. They had 5 sacks.
We blew that. That team didn't have a chance. The Philadelphia Eagles found something today they can build on, and if they do that, they will be in good shape for the rest of this season. I will stick to that. I'm not going to let you or John pop my balloon.
I got a condo in Naples right now. It's really nice. It's in the sand. It kind of went through a little storm damage, but hey, believe me, it's livable right now in a couple months. Pretty good property for you. I want you to take a look at it. Folks, it's been condemned. Don't worry, Zander. I got some land in the Glades for you, too. Dude, you're going to really buy. Oh, don't worry. National Football Show on Monday, 2 to 6. I got you covered here.
Wait, how right was I, Celia, that John was just up here? It was like when you load a shotgun and you put the shells in the barrel. That was John. It was an unlimited shotgun. He was just loading in the shells one by one.
You don't take anything away from this thing. Really, the Giants are terrible. And I was like, oh, my God, way to go, John McMullen.
Sills, before I get your final take and I'll let you get out of here, this is a member chat from Twiz, and he wants me to read it to you. Sills will be wearing a Hurts jersey. 10 wins is looking very doable. How you doing, baby?
Hey, Twizwa. Let me tell you something, Twizwa. You ain't winning 10 games. You know why? You can't score in the first quarter. You're getting your hopes up on 2 shitty football teams after 8 quarters. Congratulations. You know who you beat? You beat UPenn. Congratulations to you.
Oh, now the top 10 defense Giants.
You just beat UPenn.
On the pregame, everyone, was 24-20. Now this team is UPenn.
The Giants and the Browns, you just beat Wake Forest. Congratulations to you.
I never seen a flip-flop faster than that in my life. We could submit that sucker to Guinness for how quick he went.
The point spread was 3.5, Junior.
Great, and you bought right into it. And the Eagles said,
"Dang right, I did."
Looked at Vegas and said, "Hey, Vegas, fuck you, 28-3." Blew him off the page.
Don't worry, folks. He'll be back.
Blew him off the page.
He'll be back to his ways,
Your
understanding.
final thoughts, Big
Here, honestly, and all kidding aside, they took care of business, dude. I mean, they went into New York. They did their job. They didn't play down to the competition, like I said they did a week ago against the Browns. The defense had a nice, how about this? This could be the beginning of something really good. Okay? We'll see. I want to see more games put together. Dean is starting to play better. Josh Sweat is playing better. Carter's playing better. Okay? But now you're going to run into a couple teams here coming up real fun. We're going to find out here, we're going to play some quarterbacks now. Instead of playing donkeys, you're going to be playing some quarterbacks here. So we're going to find out just how good you are. And by the way, you ain't going to get away winning against San Francisco or Kansas City or any of those good teams like Detroit by only putting up 114 yards passing and not scoring points in the first quarter. How you doing? So at the end of the day, this was a nice ball game. Saquon had a nice return party, and we're on to Cincinnati, as Bill would say. How you doing?
Okay, Silio, you enjoy your sleep tonight.
2-6.
Jalen Hurts, 73% completions.
2-6.
Yards
Oh, my God.
Saquon Barkley, 176 yards, 8 sacks.
He threw the ball 14 times. Holy Jesus.
Wait, how many sacks? 8 sacks for the no-hold.
The Giants had 6.
8, 5, 5. 4 on Jalen and 1 on Kenny. Flick it. 8 sacks.
I can't wait. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm going to have to dissect this thing a lot more because this guy's he's making you think they beat the Eli Manning New York Giants that won the Super Bowl. They beat the Daniel Jones, and they beat the brakes off a shitty team. Congratulations. Here's your commemorative October 20th trophy for winning that. I'm going to go watch the Yankees.
Everybody watch and enjoy the show because this is when you watch a youngin', the young Z, educate the old man Johnny Mack and Big Sills. They're going to come back to me. Zander told us it was coming after the Giants game, and we blew them off. Appreciate you, Big Sills. Great show, my man. I'll catch you tomorrow, 2-6 on the National Football Show, brother. Appreciate it.
You bet. And thank you guys for showing up here on this Sunday. We so appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. We will see you Monday, 2-6. Zander, I'll catch you later, no holes.
See you, Sills. Great stuff from Big Sills checking in here on the JAKIB Postgame Show. This is the rundown for the rest of the show, everybody. I will take a couple people for the post-game show. I don't have too much time. We're already almost 2 hours into this thing, so I'm running out of time. Tonight, I have a couple things I have to tend to this evening, and we also have some great things on the docket tonight here on JAKIB. We'll have John McMullen segment went live. Dan Cilia's segment will go live, and we'll post out some clips from the show. So I'll get the link to you guys. A couple of you guys can join me. I won't be able to take everybody, but I will take a couple, 3 to 4 to 5 of you guys that join in. I'll tell you what, I'm sorry, and everybody might think I'm crazy. You don't beat a football team in the NFL 28-3 and then get to the end of it and just say, oh, who cares? Oh, there's nothing to take from that. Oh, none of that is sustainable. This isn't college. This isn't Alabama playing Western Kentucky. This is the National Football League. That was an NFC East showdown. I was told all week the Giants have a great defense. The pass rush is going to get after you. They have a top 10 defense. We blew them off the page. They were never even in that game. They didn't have a chance. And I'm supposed to just sit here and act like I didn't watch that with my own 2 eyes? Bullshit. I'm not buying it. So I'm going to get to a commercial break. I will get to all of the people that drop super chats on the other side of the break. I always get to all of our super chats. I know it's very hard to do. I remind everybody every week. It's very hard on the post-game show because I got to manage a post for people who consume the show after the fact. I have to get through Sills. I got to get to John, and we only have about 90 or so minutes to do it. So it's very hard to get to all the super chats, but that doesn't mean I don't appreciate them. They all mean a lot to me, the support of the channel. So thank you guys. Let me get to the commercial break. I'll come back. I'll read through some super chats. I'll drop the link. I think I'm going to do 4 or 5 of you guys. So it's going to be first come, first serve. If you get in, throw my pen. If you get in, I'll get to you. If you don't, you're going to be on the scrap heap until next week when you guys are able to have your voice heard on the show. And I always love talking to each one of you guys. So appreciate every one of you. Look at I'm awake. He says, is Zander back? I'm awake. I never left, my guy. I'm back. Back from what? Back from what? Awake? Back from what, my guy? I never left. Appreciate everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 3 minutes on the JAKIB Postgame Show.